Okay, so we're going to do a few more questions this week to make sure that we're keeping up with that and doing a good job with it. All right, so I'm going to go over there and take a look at those, and then I'll flip back here so that I can talk with y'all. So the first one I want to look at is here by Dexter Mercado, and what he's asking is who brought back the Latin language and why? And so first I want to talk about if it's a good question. The question is really not constructed to be as useful as it could be because it's too wide open. Who? It's not like there's one person because the Latin language is a dead language, so it's not like it's being brought back either. So the problem is that if we try to ascribe a certain personality to it, that's not terribly important. Now to try to answer the question. So the who-ness of that is not real important. Why Latin is coming back is probably a better question. Remember, early on I told you all about questions. Uh, what and who and when. Those are those are okay questions, but they're not great questions. Much more on the how and why. Okay, but so anyway, so I was going to answer the question. So, who brought it back? Well, it's not gone away. It's still a really popular language, but mostly it has fallen into the realm of kind of the language of scholars and academics and poets. But the one who brings it back the most, and this is why the question could be fixed a little bit by who brings it back the most and makes the most use of it, and then why does everybody else catch on with that? Well, that would be Petrarca, Francesco Petrarca, who the reason it catches on is because he starts writing exclusively in that. Um, and so that's I guess the biggest and best answer we can give to that is that the who is Petrarca, and it's because he's just really good at it. Latin has nice vowel endings, much like the other Romantic languages, like Spanish. So it has a nice, real sonance in the background, so it sounds right. It sounds good. It's easy to rhyme with Latin because Latin, because of that sound, it can rhyme pretty well with itself. Also, a unique feature of Latin is the fact that it's not like our language where you have to have a subject, verb, and an object to make it make sense. An analytical language is like that. This one is an inflected language. An inflected language, you tell what the word does in the sentence by not where it falls in the sentence, by what kind of ending it has, and therefore you have a lot of flexibility inside of a rhyming pattern. Okay, so there's one reason. There's one reason that Latin comes back and is so popular. Okay, let's go look at another one. Other one I want to look at is here one by Michael Navarro here. It says, why do you think the work of Cicero is so important to Petrarca? Well, Cicero's work is really important to Petrarca. First off, the question is a decent question. I think you get some sense of that. I don't remember if Petrarch mentions it himself or if Boccaccio mentions it about Petrarch or if it was one of the other guys. But anyway, Cicero is really important because Cicero is not the most well-regarded Latin poet, um, but he does have a good ear and a good eye for the language. And so when Petrarca is looking at Cicero's stuff, he's really struck by some of the stuff by Cicero. But I believe that if we really were to look at it, we would find that what Petrarca finds in Cicero is that somebody's work that he thinks he can do better than. In essence, then, he wants to correct it, fix it, make it better than it could be. And he thinks Cicero has started well but didn't finish the job, and so he wants to go further, and that's why I think we really searched it out. I think that's the answer we would find. So, but that's a decent question because it's more pointed. Let's go look at one more, and this one will be by Vandenberg. Let's go look at this one real quick. It's up at the top too. And why is everyone so interested in the Latin language of this time era? Okay, so I tried to pick questions that were all kind of similar. Why is everyone so interested in? Well, remember what Petrarca is saying in his piece. He's saying everybody wants to go be a poet. Everybody wants to be a poet in essence, like me, like Petrarca. I am pretty darn good at it, Petrarca thinks. And he says only a few are really, suited to be a superior poet, like myself. A little bit of pride there, a little bit of backpatting by Petrarca. But everyone's so interested in Latin because it is terribly flexible as a poetic language, and if you're going to be like this rock star poet Petrarca, you're going to have to use the same kind of language he uses. You're not going to do it in Italian. You're not going to do it in your local language, your vernacular. You're going to do it in the rock star language. And so Latin is a rock star language right now, and it is that flexibility of Latin that lets it be so. All right. Well, those are pretty good questions. Again, I'm always going to try to push you to be really specific. I think probably the best question out of those three was the middle one, where he's asking why was Petrarch so interested in Cicero. All right. That's it for this one, and I'll go make another video on the assignment from last week. All right. Bye.